How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 3.
I want to say something very heartfelt and important to you right now. Friends, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I know no other way than to say it like this. It is your choice to watch or not watch the Super Bowl halftime show. And it is your choice to be outraged or not by whatever political nonsense you and I both know is going to come from it. It is your choice to be outraged. It is your choice to watch it. As for me in my house, I'm watching a football game, not very well produced and hard to hear halftime show. In fact, I hear there's going to be some other competing halftime show. There are probably multiple ones. I'm not watching the halftime shows. That's my chance to go to the bathroom, get another beer, and get something to eat. I've never wasted my time on the halftime shows. Life is too short to be upset because someone you've never heard of that the kids these days love is singing in the halftime show and makes a political statement you don't like. You don't have to watch that. Just watch the football game. Now, I want to talk about something that's not political, but it's becoming political. I hesitate to open this way. I hesitate to open this way because I'm not alone in the office today. Philip is in the office. And I know what's going to happen to me the moment I begin this way. Because since he'll be here and ready and present and won't have time to forget that I started my third hour of the program this way. No, has nothing to do with Dubai. So I'm a Star Trek fan. Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, one of probably my favorite of all the Star Trek movies. First Contact, actually very good as well. Everybody loves Wrath of Khan, but it was a little dated for me. The Undiscovered Country, Star Trek 6, where Captain Kirk goes off to bring peace with the Klingon Empire after their prison moon has exploded, or their mining moon has exploded, and he gets stuck on the prison moon. It's a great movie. In fact, it came out when I was in high school. And my physics teacher, Dr. Jessica Scott, gave me a note. I was allowed to skip school and go see Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, in the theater during school with my parents, so long as I then provided a report the next day on the scientific inaccuracies in the movie. Oh, there was a lot, but it was a fun time, and it was a fun movie. It actually was a fun movie. In that movie, there is an effort to sabotage the peace between the Klingons and the Federation. And one of the Vulcans, who, spoiler alert, turns out to be the bad guy, explains that at the start of the Industrial Revolution, workers in France, afraid of being displaced by machines, they threw their clogs into the gears of the machines, shattering the machines. The clogs were called sabots, hence the word sabotage. I learned that from a Vulcan in high school. And now you know it too, because of a Vulcan. Now, Star Trek has kind of gone off the rails these days, and Stacey Abrams is president of the Federation and all that sort of stuff. But you learn some stuff. You do. You learn about where the word sabotage allegedly comes from. And right now, there are a lot of people out there who believe that AI, like the Industrial Revolution, is going to take everybody's job and destroy us. There's a video on Twitter this morning of a bridge collapse in China. Now, this one's kind of wild to me. So this bridge in China collapsed, and it actually is a real thing. There was a massive bridge collapse in China. 30-some-odd people plunged to their deaths. And a video was displayed on social media this morning of it, and it's very clearly AI. How do I know that the video is AI? Either we caught angels in the field or it was AI, because when you're watching the video, if you pay attention to the video, some of the people in the video just disappear, literally just fade out. Matt Walsh called it out and said he's ready for essentially people to be jailed for fabricating AI that fools people. And you know what Twitter's response was? Let me read you the Twitter response. The clip, the video of the bridge collapse, shows vehicles swept away by flash floods on a highway bridge in China's Shanxi province on July 19, 2024, killing 38 people and leaving 24 missing. Commentator Matt Walsh demanded fines or worse for posters he thought were sharing fake AI content amid a wave of hyper-realistic AI disaster videos flooding feeds. A few users and AI like Grok correctly identified it as authentic footage from Xinhua and CNN reports, urging everyone to pause and verify before reacting. Ladies and gentlemen, the video is AI, and Twitter's AI client says it's not AI. Now, that AI video footage is being generated in a data center somewhere, working on servers around the world. China is building, I think I read, and I thought the number was wrong, but I think it's actually right, like 100 coal-fired plants for every one new power plant in the United States. Coal-fired plants. The left gives China credit for its solar and wind. China's building a massive ton of coal-fired power plants because they need the power capacity for AI. The Democrats in Virginia, one of the issues they ran on when they took over was the end of supporting data centers in Virginia, unless data center companies paid to help upgrade power lines and stop sharing or stop cost sharing. In Georgia and Florida, they banned cost sharing. Cost sharing is where you and I have our rates go up so that the data center companies don't have their rates go up drastically. In Georgia, Florida, and a couple other southern states, 100% of the data centers have to pay 100% of their power costs. It's not to be cost shared with the public. A lot of states, though, everybody's power bills are going up because of the data centers. Those of you in Georgia, your power bills are going up for other reasons. There's a huge backlash coming to the data centers. One, I think people are ready to start sabotaging them because they think they're going to take people's jobs. Two, they start putting up these hyper-realistic videos fooling people time and time again. You know, what's his name? Adam Mosseri, I think his name is. He's the head of Instagram now, put up a video a while back and said it's actually going to be easier to label real videos as not AI than it is to label AI videos as AI because the churn is so good. They're starting to outpace the past. They're becoming more and more accurate in the representations. It's going to be harder and harder to tell what's AI or not. And so he's urging companies like Apple and others to embed metadata in images and in videos that can be processed by social media companies to know it's authentic. There are some really creative AI videos out there now that are really hard to tell are fake, and they're being generated at high wattage with a lot of power in data centers coming to you. We had a call yesterday from a guy in Carroll County, Georgia, asking what he could do. There's a group that wants to build a data center in his backyard. Literally, it would be like 50 feet from his backyard where this data center would be built. And said, you got to show up at your county commission, and you got to show up at your planning and zoning. And here's the problem, is that a lot of counties want the money. They want the money, and so they're willing to allow the property to come in. Why? Because 2.5 hours south of me, there's a Hyundai facility being built. This Hyundai facility, to give you an idea of how the size and scale of this Hyundai facility, when you ride down I-16 from where I am in Macon, Georgia to Savannah, Georgia, you get to Bryan County, Georgia. This Hyundai facility runs for about 2 miles, 1.5 miles to 2 miles down the interstate. That's how long it is. And it goes about a mile deep, 0.5 mile to a mile deep. It is a massive facility. That facility is out in the middle of nowhere. And the town near it is about to more than quadruple in size. A town of a few hundred is about to become a town of multiple thousands of people. Their infrastructure for roads is not ready for it. Their school system is not ready for it. Their water infrastructure is not ready for it. Their fire department is not ready for it. Nothing in that community is ready for the amount of people who are about to take up residence there. They're going to be overwhelmed. When a data center comes in, the data center can be as big as that Hyundai plant with less than 100 people working there. The smaller data centers maybe have a dozen people working there. So they're paying the property taxes to a community without the massive increase in population. So small towns and rural areas love the data centers because they get property taxes based on a massive use volume of land without the massive flood of new residents into the community to overwhelm the infrastructure. It's a big win for those communities. The problem is people are starting to get fed up because the data centers, it's not just the construction. Once they're built, they take the intake of a lot of water. They don't use a lot of water long term. They do replenish, but it's first massive intake of water. But in many cases, if not done right, there's a low frequency hum that everybody in the community can hear. And it drives people insane. They can be noisy. They use a lot of power. The power grid can sometimes hum. They're pulling in so much power, and people miles away can hear it. If you're opposed, and there's a growing backlash to these AI data centers, not just because of the jobs that are going to be taken because of AI replacing people, but also because of the noise, the water usage, the power consumption, all that, you can show up at your local county commissions, you can show up at your local planning and zonings, and you can fight them. You got to stay informed to know what's coming down the pike. It's going to become the next populist issue, though. You mark my words on this one. This is going to become a populist issue that transcends Republican and Democratic politicians. This is going to fire people up. People don't want them in their backyard. There's a community near me. In fact, Philip lives in the community. There was a guy who he got a conservation easement on his land, couldn't really sell it because of the conservation easement or tax offsets because of the environmental easement, and decided with the neighbor, let's put a data center on it. The entire community was in an uproar over it. One of the guys involved was caught tearing down anti-data center signs. The community rejected it. The planning and zoning rejected it. The county commissions rejected it. There's another one that's going to be built, though. They're building a Buc-ee's on one side of the interstate and a data center on the other side of the interstate. Can't wait for the Buc-ee's to be built. People are upset about that one, but not as much because there really isn't one around it. And it's not going to be one of those noisy ones. And in Georgia now, power rates aren't going to go up for at least 3 years. They've frozen them for 3 years, so people aren't really worried about the power bill jump, and the data centers have to cover their own costs. But in other states around the country, it's going to become a major populist issue. And there are a lot of people in a lot of communities around the country who are really concerned about the noise, the pollution, the water usage, the jobs taken. They don't want them in their backyard. Some states will. They'll make a choice and they'll prosper. But a lot of people don't. And the moral of the story for you politicians out there is you better watch which way the winds are blowing in your community, because you're going to be eaten alive on this issue if you're not careful. This is a short segment. I will get to you as soon as we come back from commercial break. But first, this one is kind of wild to me. The University of Miami. The University of Miami Hospital has just upgraded and built a luxurious new lobby. And they've got fancy facilities now. They've got $1 million salaries, all at your taxpayer expense in Abu Dhabi. That's right, Abu Dhabi. Garfield used to send animals to Abu Dhabi and Timbuktu. And in Abu Dhabi, the University of Miami Hospital has a luxurious new lobby, fancy facilities, $1 million salaries, subsidized by your taxpayer dollars in Abu Dhabi. But officials have announced that the University of Miami Hospital is going to shut down their organ procurement agency to save money and because of mismanagement. Wow. So the folks in Abu Dhabi get University of Miami Hospital, and the folks in Miami are with one less organ procurement agency due to cuts and mismanagement. Priorities, folks. Priorities. They're the University of Miami. Someone needs to get the organ procurement agency on the football team, and they'll throw a lot of money at it to keep it going. I am sure of that. Didn't Indiana win that? I should not say that. Okay, we must move on. I'll take your phone calls as soon as we come back, 877-973-7425. First, I must tell you about my Rinnai tankless water heater. You want one of these things. They're reasonably priced. They're made just north of me in Griffin, Georgia. They've got a facility up there. They're fabulous. This tankless water heater, the water passes through it, and instead of a tank that holds and heats the water, and so you have a higher gas bill, you have a high power bill, it only turns on when the water runs through it, and it rapidly heats the water. So when it gets to your spigot, we've got ours set at 120, 130 degrees, somewhere in there. It's hot. And you can leave the spigot on, and it stays hot because it's not a tank that gets emptied out and then has to be replenished with cold water. The hot water stays hot forever as it passes through. Forever hot water with a Rinnai tankless water heater. And it's the size of like a carry-on bag. It's phenomenal. You go to talkingtankless.com and find out how to ditch your tank of a water heater. Our power bill went down when we got rid of our tank of water. We had two tanks, one for upstairs, one for downstairs. We got rid of them both. We have just one Rinnai tankless water heater now. The power bill went down, and now we never run out of hot water. There are no fights among the kids over running out of hot water for showers and things like that. You got hot water out every spigot whenever you need it, thanks to Rinnai. Talkingtankless.com. If you want to upgrade your existing tank to a tankless, or you're building a new house, you want one of these, talkingtankless.com from Rinnai, a forever hot water heater from Rinnai. Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number 877-973-7425. Let's go to Alan. Welcome to the show, Alan. How are you? Alan? Oh, he's been there on hold for so long that he doesn't know I've come to him. So he's been waiting very patiently. I'm going to put Alan on hold and come back to him here in a minute and go to Charlie. Welcome to the show, Charlie. How are you?
Hey, Eric, I'm good. Wanted to just make a comment on what you were talking about earlier about Trump and this ridiculous video that he posted. I'm a 3-time Trump voter. I would probably vote for him again. I love his policies, but I tell you, days like today just make me want to scream because he's like a 5-year-old little boy that has no impulse control, and he does tremendous damage to the very causes that he claims he's in favor of, and it's crazy. And what's even more frustrating to me is the Trump supporters, and this includes Fox News, that just go on and on and on that the guy can do no wrong and they excuse everything. I think he and our country would have been a lot better off if somebody somewhere along the way would have stood up and said, sometimes you just need to shut up. And I would say Susie Wiles doesn't need a TV to see what the latest truth social posting is. She needs a shock collar.
keep him off of it. Now, I will tell you what they're saying. They defended it this morning. Carolyn Levitt defended the post this morning, and then 12 hours later, they said it was actually a staffer that did it overnight. The president actually never saw it. What I find actually notable, Charlie, is that one of the reporters pointed this out. The way the White House source said is that the president didn't see it, like really didn't see it, as opposed to we're telling you he didn't see it, but he did, like he never saw it. So essentially, someone in the White House, a young staffer, has been given direct access to the president's social media account to post stuff without showing it to the president first. And they,
I would say
I just can't believe they do this.
Well, I'd say that is indicative of how poorly things are run in the White House, if that is truly the case. And if it is truly the case, they need to change that, and Trump needs to come out, not with a statement, but, with a press conference with a full-throated apology, and he just needs to shut the hell up. I'll listen on the air, but it's incredibly frustrating. Look, and I thank you for speaking out about it, because, all of these these sycophants for Trump are doing more damage than they're doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, look, I agree with you, Charlie. And if we keep making excuses for incompetence, we're going to get more incompetence. If you really do have a White House staffer that has access, you need to take that person's access away, if not fire the person, because if we keep making excuses for the incompetence, we're going to get incompetence. And that incompetence is going to bleed over into the elections. And, they had such a well-run campaign team in 2024, fired on all cylinders at the end. They running head and shoulders over, just running over Kamala Harris. And now this. Alan, let's go back to you. You there, sir?
Yes, thank you. I completely agree with you, and that, for lack of better words, Trump is his own worst enemy. But at the same time, we're just getting the fact that he's authentic. He doesn't think about going to heaven. Now, if you put him on the spot, what's he trying to do in Ukraine? Quit the fighting, quit killing people. But he just has a completely separate reality. He's not, and when he answers authentically and says, about am I gonna go to heaven? It doesn't register, because it's not how he's made, and that doesn't. I'm not making excuses like what happened with President Obama and Michelle. I mean, it's not defensible. Whoever and however it happened, there's nothing you can.
Look,
you can't hide behind that.
I actually agree with you, Alan. I agree with you. The president doesn't think about eternity. He's living the moment here and now. He does lack impulse control. He's very authentic. He wears it on his sleeve. It's one of the things that is the most endearing thing about him is he is a deeply funny person with a sense of humor. He doesn't care who he's going to offend with a sense of humor. He puts a lot of trust in the people around him to do things, hoping they get it right. He does not fire the people around him when they get it wrong. He's loyal to them. They're loyal to him. I get it. But also, we are all made in the image and likeness of God and have that little voice in the back of our head at some point in our lives of where are we going to wind up in eternity? Is there even an eternity? And at 80, the odds are starting to work against you. Probably some friend of his he needs to sit him down and have the conversation. And that's and again, y'all should see the hate mail I have gotten from people over talking about that. Some very kind words as well from people. And again, this is not about the president. The president, I think Alan is right. He's living in the moment. He loves life. But what about the great beyond? And when you have a council of people around the president, and by the way, I got to tell you, that's a hard conversation to have. When you go into the most powerful man on planet Earth, you don't really want to go in there and say, hey, buddy, you going to heaven or hell? Have you thought about it? Nobody wants to go have that conversation. And there are a lot of people, by the way, who will bluster and say, I'm going to go have the conversation. And then they get into the White House and they're overwhelmed. I mean, have y'all been to the White House? I have been to the White House multiple times. You go past that Marine and the western portico of the White House and the West Wing. You step in, and the Oval Office is almost right there. And you are suddenly overwhelmed. Then you walk into Mrs. Landingham's office, that is the President's Secretary's office, if you know, you know. And through there, you get a glimpse of the you get a glimpse of the Oval Office. And then you walk in to the Oval Office. And Trump's Oval Office, it is so gold-plated these days, it is something to behold. And it's overwhelming. It is designed to be overwhelming. And so you get your bold pastor who decides to go in and share the gospel with the President of the United States. You're already distracted because there is the famous portrait of George Washington hanging on the wall that is used for the dollar bill. There is Dolly Madison's famous portrait of George Washington, too. There is an original painting of Thomas Jefferson. There's the Churchill bust. There's the Resolute desk. It's overwhelming. Overwhelming for anyone. And you know, the funny thing is that it's overwhelming every single time you go. Not just one time, not just 5 times, 20 times in, you don't lose your appreciation for the fact that you are in the Oval Office of the most powerful man on planet Earth, the President of the United States of America. And yet, you got to go in and you got to say, buddy, friend, Mr. President, I am concerned about you in eternity. I want nothing from you. I have no demand. I have no request. This is not a transaction. And there is no transaction you can do. There is no transaction you can make. There is nothing you can give or do to get through the pearly gates. And my question for you is, do you even believe? And if you do, where are you going to wind up? There's only one thing you can do, and that is to, for the one time in your life, have to put your trust in another person. And he's ready and willing for you to do it. You just have to ask. And that's a very intimidating thing to do when you're dealing with the most powerful man on planet Earth. There are very few St. Ambroses around who can make the king get on his knees in sackcloth and beg. There are very few. Now, let me go to the phones. Greg, you're going to be up next. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Hey, Eric, happy Friday. I'm going to make you a little jealous. I'm listening to your last hour in the sun in the backyard, enjoying a fine Perdomo number 10th anniversary champagne cigar.
As my son would say to me, boop, boop, boop. Universal hang-up sound on the iPhone.
I know. I had a comment to make about Trump and the gaggle in his Oval Office and handling Gorillagate. But I'm going to pivot. I'm going to make your call screener mad by doing that. I know.
That's all right. He can't hang up on you now. You're mine now.
Nope, he sure can't, and we know each other a little bit from past times. There is one person who can possibly have that conversation with Donald Trump, and he is in his administration very close to him. I just thought of this while you were making your comment. And he has walked the road of redemption that the president needs to walk. Guess who?
Who?
J.D. Vance.
Yeah? Okay,
He's
now,
been
Greg. Greg, right now, millions of evangelicals are suddenly like, wait a second, isn't he Catholic? But you're right.
I know. I'm a Methodist. I grew up Methodist. My family is Catholic, and I went to Catholic Mass Saturday night. I took my mother when she could no longer drive to Methodist church, and her Methodist minister, the church I got married in, looked at me and gave me a new denomination. He called me a Methodist. and he's like, God bless you for taking your mom to church on Sunday morning. And I'm like, well, I made a promise to her when she could no longer drive. So,
yeah, well,
and the good Lord took her memory away after that. So it was difficult. And then he walked that path with his father, and we could talk about it. And I think God put me there for him in church on Sunday so we could talk about it. So, I think J.D. Vance is it.
Yeah, he is. And honestly, there was another opportunity there, and I suspect this conversation was had and just didn't go the way it needed to go, and it was Mike Pence as vice president the first term. I mean, and I am fairly confident in saying they had that conversation, and he was probably before Vance the one who could, and obviously didn't go well. And sometimes you got to have multiple people have the conversation. So I'm reading this book, Greg, interestingly enough, by Dr. Michael Youssef. He's the Church of the Apostles and Leading the Way Ministries, and he's talking about Muhammad. And Muhammad's first wife was Christian, and her father attempted to explain the gospel to Muhammad and did such a bad job of sharing the gospel with Muhammad. Well, we see how things went. So you do have to have somebody who can actually do a good job. Otherwise, you get something bad. Random wild part of history. Now, look, have a great weekend, Greg, and enjoy the cigar. I am trying not to hate your guts right now. I had one the other night. Y'all, I had that one the other night behind the wall listening to that woman trying not to break up with her boyfriend, and that was the most incredible thing. So, how do I? Yeah, I see Ben Sass just put this out. God bless him. Ben and his struggles. He says it's a game of inches. Have y'all heard this? Reports have suffered. Well, you're going to suffer when you hear me say it. Reports have surfaced before the Winter Olympics that allege male ski jumpers, are injecting their, male appendages with hyaluronic acid to fly further. The game of inches. Now, what is going on here? Well, the men are injecting hyaluronic acid into their nether regions to make their nether regions larger by centimeters, to change the aerodynamic nature of the suits. They can get a looser suit, and it works better with the air as they're doing the ski jumping, and they can get a little extra distance on the ski jump. Yeah. Men, don't go try that at home tonight, please, to impress your significant. Don't put needles there, please. But apparently the World Anti-Doping Agency is investigating this game of inches that Olympians are starting. I honestly, I had forgotten that the Olympics had already started. I guess the closing ceremony or the opening ceremonies this weekend. Word is that the IOC has asked people not to boo the vice president of the United States. They're afraid of the bawdy Europeans doing something. But yeah, the men are injecting themselves there for aerodynamic reasons. Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. So you know what actually should be the big story today? And don't be mad at me for saving it for the end. Be mad at the White House staffer who put up that stupid video. This actually should be the big story of the day. And unfortunately, it's not going to get all of the news coverage, and it should. The President of the United States and the FBI deserve a lot of credit. They have arrested a suspect who participated in the terror attack on the U.S. Facility in Benghazi, Libya in 2012. That led to the deaths of 4 Americans, including the U.S. ambassador. Pam Bondi said, quote, "Today I'm proud to announce that the FBI has arrested one of the key participants behind the Benghazi attack. You can run, but you cannot hide." The suspect is Zubair al-Bakush, transferred to the U.S. overnight. The Attorney General announced his capture alongside Kash Patel and Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. Attorney. Chris Stevens, Sean Smith, Tyrone Woods, and Glenn Darty were killed in the attack on the diplomatic compound and CIA outpost by militants of Ansar al-Sharia on September 11th, 2012. Jeanine Pirro has notified the family members of the capture before he was captured. This is a really big deal, and the FBI deserves a lot of credit for making this happen. It is a little bit troubling to me, the error, if we wish to call it that, made this morning on the president's social media account with that video. And that video has sparked all the conversation in Washington, D.C. today. And you can't blame people for talking about it. It was up for 12 hours with a defense from the White House press secretary before being taken down. And it overshadowed really good news. How many Americans are going to find this out now? Because the news story completely got buried. But the FBI is continuing to pursue the suspects that caused the Benghazi attack and the death of our ambassador and 3 others. And that's a very good thing. Well done to Kash Patel and the FBI. Well done to the Department of Justice. Well done to those involved behind the scenes with the intelligence operation that led to this person's capture. The nation should be very grateful you were there. Now, you'll be very grateful that you have Vision Computers if something ever happens with your computer. If you call them at 404-COMPUTE today, you can sign up with Vision Computers and get their incredible customer service. Their IT support, hands down, is the best. VisionComputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. They can be your managed IT service where you and your employees get a phone number where in 15 seconds or less, when you call it, you get a live human being on the phone who can help you diagnose any problems you have on your computer, or even such things as you've saved a file and you can't find it, they can find it for you. You've got a scammer getting you on the phone trying to scam you, they can help you diagnose and solve the scam. They can protect you, and they can keep you up and productive. You go to 404-COMPUTE or VisionComputers.com. You tell them I sent you. You might save some money. They can build you new computers as well. And if you buy new computers from Vision Computers, well, the customer service comes with it, the managed IT service. 404-COMPUTE or VisionComputers.com. You guys have a great rest of the day.